All right, peeps. On today's episode of The Kung Fu Genius, the genius will be quizzing moi and you, the audience, on all things Bruce Lee. Lots of gems, lots of multiple guessing, lots of could Bruce Lee catch a bullet in his teeth and or grain of rice with a fork and knife. Oh. Let's get to it.
And every day, I practice martial arts.
Watch out!
Yo, Dre, how you doing, man?
Happy today, Sifu.
Yeah,
happy to be here.
Fantastic. So here we are for another episode of the Kung Fu Genius podcast. I thought today we'd do something a little different.
I don't know.
Well, I
like the
I kind
the
of told you a
format
little
that-
bit about what we're going to do, but
I
I
like-
didn't give you enough details.
I like the format we usually keep.
Yes, you know
Yeah.
why? Because it doesn't put you on the spot.
You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything except laugh at my dumb jokes and agree with me. All right.
I mean,
Now you're gonna have to perform. This is like a quarterly review on you, right? You know, you have a job and every once in a while you get a quarterly review. So what I was thinking was, you know, we have done some deep dives into various topics of Bruce Lee, his final months, his death. We talked a lot about his films, about martial arts, had people debate Jeet Kune Do topics here. And we recently debunked Tom Bleeker's piece of trash book, Unsettled Matters.
That book was not a piece of trash. It was absolutely 100% on the money.
Yeah.
he's
So we did that. So as a result, we have
spitting facts. Son.
we've gone quite deep into various topics about Bruce Lee.
True.
And for
True
most
that.
of those episodes, you were there.
True that.
You weren't always there, but you did have the option to see the episode. Plus, you've been doing this podcast for what was like our 4th year now.
True that.
So I think it's about time we find out how much you have retained about Bruce Lee. Okay. So I was, I was looking at our Patreon to see, what is our next topic, because we got a lot of Patreon questions. I had already, because what I do for the Patreons is I do like now I'm doing like a private Ask Me Anything episode. So like they'll ask me a bunch of questions and then I will just shoot that separately and put that just for the Patreon so they can get their questions answered directly kind of outside of the podcast sphere, right?
Right.
And if some of those questions are good for an entire topic, then I'll also take it for a topic as well. So today, we came here today and we recorded yesterday. I didn't have a topic yet for today.
All right, but did you come up with this because I'm wearing this awesome Bruce Lee T-shirt that I got in Hong Kong?
No, that was not the reason.
Oh.
What I was thinking of is like, all right, when we do Bruce Lee topics, we get them either from our commenters,
True.
or we get them from our Patreons, or I just kind of see what are people writing about, or is there something in the news about Bruce Lee? But today, because we recorded yesterday, we had not yet come up with a topic for today. Usually, if I have a day or two, I'll be like, okay, I know what we're going to talk about. But we just recorded because we have to, do a few more episodes to get caught up a bit. And
So this is Mikey Deane's fault.
I typed in Google questions about Bruce Lee just to see like what questions are people asking. And then what came up were
like a quiz?
were sites that had quizzes about Bruce Lee. I found 2. One was only a true fan of Bruce Lee can survive the quiz.
Oh, God.
And the other one is the Bruce Lee phenomenon trivia quiz. Now,
I'd like to say only a true fan of Bruce Lee can survive the quiz. Seems somewhat combative and threatening.
yes, exactly.
Like,
right?
so, like, because here's the thing, right? If you don't survive this,
I'm not a true fan.
well, it's not that. Well, you're also not only are you not a true fan,
But you'll be dead.
You'd be dead.
Yeah, because you
Oh,
won't survive.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so these are some serious stakes. Dre,
The stakes are
if
high.
you don't, the
I can be
stakes
like-
is high. If you don't answer these
murked.
questions, it's curtains for you. All right.
It's
So-
over.
By way of what? though?
Well, so when I saw this, I just looked at the first question
Uh-huh.
and I go, oh, this is easy as hell. I can't do this. This
Yeah.
would be no challenge for someone of
Of your
my level
stature.
of Bruce Lee geekdom.
Yeah,
Not
right.
my stature. I'm only 5'7". I'm a manlet. I mean, like of my level of Bruce Lee geekdom. But I go, but this would be perfect for you to see how much you actually pay attention. All right. Because I'm pretty sure at some point, most of these questions we've discussed on the podcast.
You know how
So-
poor I am.
Well, how much money you have
I
in the
can't
bank
even
has
pay it.
nothing to do with what you know about Bruce Lee, especially when you're listening to me talk about Bruce Lee all the time.
Knowledge
Can't
is
pay
free.
attention.
Knowledge is free. Yes. So, Dre,
So broke.
before we get started, I just wanted to remind everyone that the best way to support the Kung Fu Genius is on Patreon. Patreon.com/the Kung Fu Genius for all your Kung Fu Genius needs. For as little as $5 a month, you can get access to episodes early. You get all sorts of special goodies like the special AMA episodes I was just talking about, Wing Chun based content, and also my Instagram subscriber reels, higher levels of content, get all sorts of goodies, including like the toppest, most level of Patreon gets a private episode with me and all sorts of stuff in between. If you do not want to support us on Patreon, you can support us right here on YouTube with memberships. We have a couple lower tier there, which just, I'll answer your comment or consider it for an episode. But at the $9.99 level, you'll get access to a lot of the same types of goodies that I give my Patreons at the comparable level. So anyway, patreon.com/the Kung Fu Genius or right here on memberships. And the best nation in the world is the donation. If you don't want to do either of those two options,
you can just hit that
link
best nation.
link for PayPal is in the description below as well. You could just give us a one-time, one-off donation. So anyway, having said that, I figured it would be a great jump-off point to put you through the quiz.
Okay.
See how poorly you do. And then if there was anything interesting about those questions, I can go into it a little bit further.
I
And
agree.
there are two quizzes. I think these things are going to be really quite easy, right? So let's go to the first one. Only a true fan of Bruce Lee can survive the quiz. All right. Now, mind you, like I said,
The stakes are too high.
I just looked at the first question just to see if it was worth it. I didn't look at any of the other questions. So
God.
the other questions could be straight ass. Also, by the way, I didn't see if it's that accurate because this is a very clickbaity looking website.
answers
I was going to say,
Yeah, so this is not coming from
we could be fact checking here as
yeah,
well.
we could also be fact checking. So there are many things that we can go. All right,
Is that
many
the
things
role
we
of
can go
the
here.
producer, the fact check?
All right, so here we go.
Oh, I can do
It says
that.
start. All right, so I'm going to click on that, and we got our first question. Oh man, this is easy.
There's a timer?
What? No, there doesn't
Okay.
seem to be a timer. What was? I hope not, because we're going to stop and talk about these things.
Okay.
There's 23 questions in this first quiz. Now, I'll ask the question. What I would like you to do, Dre, is just take a short pause before you answer it.
Okay.
Because I also want our listeners to maybe have a chance to kind of answer it in their own head before you blurt out what's probably the wrong answer anyway. All right. So anyway, let's get started here. All right, Dre, are you ready?
I am ready.
What was the name? This is so easy. What was the name of the head villain in the Bruce Lee film Enter the Dragon? Now, they have it's multiple choice here. But I'm
we can
first
go
going to
multiple
ask you
choice.
without.
Yeah, don't add the multiple choice for
Yeah,
why
that.
not?
Come on.
Come on. Help
Come on,
a brother
Dre.
out.
Who is it? Bruce Lee. Enter the Dragon. Who's the villain? Are you kidding me, Dre?
Han.
Han, finally. Jeez, man, that was scary. All right. So, all right, cool. All right, so we got that one. So now let's go to the next one. Man, if you didn't get that one, I'm like, this is already getting off to a rocky start. All right, so here we go. Oh, man, this is even easier. What martial art did Bruce Lee create? Are you kidding me, Dre? Let's get
But
going.
you said
here.
this a pause, right? Small pause.
Yes,
and then
but that
answer
was I spent a year here one afternoon with that pause.
That's
Come
what's
on.
known as a pregnant pause.
Yes.
Are you pregnant?
All right, what is it, Dre?
Jun Fan Jeet Kune Do?
Just Jeet Kune Do is
Just
fine.
Jeet
all
Kune
right?
Do
Don't
is
try to
fine.
get fancy, like you know some extra shit. All right, all right, because that's gonna look
That's
really
unnecessary.
really bad when you get to the hard questions.
Oh, yeah, I get it,
Now,
I get it.
so far of those two questions,
I'm surviving.
yeah, but I mean, like,
I'm still
really,
alive.
like, did you have to be a true fan of Bruce Lee to know those two things? I think a casual would have known those.
I think a casual would have
I'm a
known the
casual.
first one. The second
Yes.
one,
All
not
right.
so much.
I'm a casual.
Are you a Wing Chun instructor that needs some extra guidance in your own training? My private online Wing Chun training offers a multitude of benefits for instructors. Here are some of those benefits. 1, access to expert guidance, namely me. With my experience teaching instructors from all over the world, I can create a program just for you, whether it's the details of the advanced Wing Chun, something more fundamental, or just to help you create a program for your own students. 2, flexible learning. The training can be worked around your schedule and what's most convenient for you. I don't charge extra if you bring a training partner to do the lesson with you. So bring that partner and you can get more benefit, and I can teach the two of you how to train together. 3, comprehensive curriculum. Whether you want to teach in a more traditional way or you want to upgrade your material to a more modern style, I can help you create the perfect program for your students and for yourself. And 4, personalized coaching. This program will be exactly what you're interested in without any fluff or blah, blah, blah to run things out. We get right to it, and I want you to be happy with the improvements to your training and to the curriculum. Don't miss out on these incredible benefits. Enroll in online Wing Chun private training with me and take your Wing Chun skills to the next level. Use the code KFG online to get a 15% discount on monthly subscriptions for either 2 or 4 lessons a month. Use the link in the description below. Don't forget to use the code KFG online to get that 15% discount on the subscription of your choice as soon as possible. And I will see you online.
Okay. Ooh, this is a good one. This involves someone we may or may not know personally. In Enter the Dragon, what did Bruce Lee's sister do to avoid being raped?
Oh, ouch.
Yes. What did she do?
She
Yeah. Well,
offed herself with a glass, a
shard of glass.
Shard of glass.
Yes, good. Remember, Dre, when you demonstrate things, a certain segment of our audience just listens to this on audio.
Right. So
you have to make sure that you give the auditory, the proper verbal response, not just the visual. Yeah.
Okay.
She did the to herself, right? Yeah. She stabbed herself with broken glass. All right.
Broken glass everywhere.
All right. So far, this seems like mostly an Enter the Dragon quiz, right?
Is it?
Oh, come on. This is so easy. All right. What is the name of Bruce Lee's son?
Short pause.
Oh, yeah, there's your short pause.
Brandon Lee.
Oh, my God. He almost got that wrong.
Yes, I know. Amazing.
Brandon.
By the way, I don't think this is telling tales out of school, but one of my very first students
was Brandon Lee?
No, Elliot Leung, who runs the Connecticut branch, Club Kung Fu, Connecticut Wing Chun. And when his first son was born, he wanted to name his son Brandon, kind of after Brandon Lee, but his wife vetoed it, so he's Brendan. So anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. How many years old was Bruce Lee when he died? All right, this is easy.
I want to say 32.
Wow, look at that. Dre, I am shocked that you paid attention that much, because that is a little bit of a detail. All right.
I mean, he's what, 1944?
No, 1940. That was a failure.
1940.
You went too
Okay.
far.
Yeah,
That's when you
1940.
got a little arrogance. All
Yeah,
right.
you got to quit while you're ahead.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Dre.
40.
Next question. Oh my God, this is so easy. All right. And
They're all
what's funny?
easy for you.
You know what? Yeah, this is easy. This is why
Yeah.
we couldn't make me do the quiz.
Right,
That would have
right.
just been ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. People are on pins and needles going like, how bad is Dre at this shit, right? This is perfect.
Oh, okay.
You cannot get this one wrong. Do you know why?
Why?
And Mikey will definitely corroborate this. We specifically had this conversation on a podcast. Very early one, because I think it's back when we were in the small studio. And you asked me this, and I told you, and we laughed. Okay? So the thing is, you cannot get this run wrong because we have proof in one of like first or second season
This is
that
this
we
is
actually
not
specifically
cool.
did this. Okay?
Yeah, I
Quiz is
remember
not
that.
cool.
What character does Bruce Lee play in the 1973 film Enter the Dragon? What's his character's name? This was actually this became a joke on one of our
I
episodes.
can't take you anywhere.
Yes.
Lee.
Lee, very good.
Yes,
good,
you got it right this time.
He retained something. Yes. Yeah, I remember that. You go like,
Yeah.
wait, what was? I remember the question was, what was his
Yeah.
character's name in Enter the Dragon?
Yeah.
And I go, Lee, and then we all kind of laughed, right?
I remember that joke.
Okay, so
I
far
remember
so good.
shit like that.
And I'm
somehow.
pretty sure all of our listeners have gotten every single one of them
That
right
was a
so far.
traumatic moment for me.
Yes.
So I remember.
By the
it
way,
because
for
it
those
was
of you who are
traumatic.
listening, let us know what your score is below. So for
Oh,
this quiz,
yes.
there are 23 total questions. All right. So now we're on question 7. So just, let me know if you got any of these wrong, and then I can decide whether you're still allowed to listen to us or not.
Oh.
All right, okay.
Brutal.
Just kidding. All right. So are you ready? What was the title of Bruce Lee's official video documentary? Okay. This is I'll give you a couple options, okay? Because
this is
this is the official one.
okay.
Okay,
and
which
this
is kind of weird to say what's the official one because the Lee estate has endorsed, to my understanding, a couple of documentaries. But I think what they mean is that this came out with the original box set of Bruce Lee films. Okay, so here I'll give you the multiple guess for you. All right, one is simply Bruce Lee. The other one is called The Young Bruce Lee. The other one, Bruce Lee the One, and then Bruce Lee the Legend. So I have my guess. Which one do you think it is?
Bruce Lee the Legend.
Bruce Lee the Legend. Yes, you are right. So that one actually came in the video box set with like Way the Dragon, which was called Return of the Dragon at that time. And it's the official documentary from Golden Harvest at that time. All right. This is ridiculous. Bruce Lee is known as the greatest icon of what? Action cinema, martial arts cinema, rifle shooting, or comedy cinema? Are you kidding me?
This is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah, this is question 1 on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. These are like the easy throwaway questions. When are they going to give me
It's
something
rifle
difficult?
cinema, obviously.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and the rifle shooting. I like how he even got the wrong choice. He's like, rifle cinema. It was rifle shooting. It's rifle cinema. All right. Yeah, no. I'm going to guess martial arts, right?
We obviously know which one that is. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
I
Out of
mean,
the
please.
four
If anyone gets that wrong,
options.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, Bruce Lee died before the completion of what famous film? I'm not going to give you the multiples on that. You should be able to get it. Game of Death. Yeah.
That was a tough
That was
Yeah,
a tough
I
one.
could see.
that
All
sweat
right, yeah.
was
I
like,
was waiting for you to say The Crow.
Oh, no.
All right. Jesus Christ.
Ouch.
All right. Yeah. All right. So far, so good. Okay.
You've seen the new one. I've heard it's superior.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard you're a big fan of that new Crow film. All right. Okay. Here we go. A little more.
Croak.
Yeah, but you know what? You know, I have made tests
Mhm.
for our Wing Chun students. So for the various
Yeah.
levels, like student level 9
Oh, yeah.
and
Great test.
primary level for all the technician levels, you also have to take a written test. In the old days, it was kind of old school. Now I've actually digitized it. So you
Mhm.
do it on like a Google Sheet type thing when you take those various tests. And they're like to make sure that in addition to like the practical tests, like testing the forms, the fighting, whatever else we need to test for the various levels, that you also have a basic understanding of the theory and what else you need to know, right? So I know something about designing quizzes.
Okay.
And it's like a multiple, some of them are short answer, some of them are multiple choice.
Mhm.
And when you design a multiple choice quiz or test,
Right.
as this one is here, there's a way to go about making the multiple choices a little more challenging.
Yeah.
Like you don't make them so obvious.
Uh-huh.
And my one issue with this quiz is
Oh, no.
they could have made it a little more. So you'll see why in a moment. Okay. So the next question is,
Oh, before we go ahead,
yeah.
I just want to point out something, right?
Yeah.
So, Dre is a seafood, right?
mhm.
Which means at some point in the past,
Mhm.
he had to retain information to do written tests,
Yes.
which just it seems just so weird to me, bearing in mind that.
Yeah, although to be fair, I mean Dre remembers his Wing Chun stuff because I beat it into him. And you know, the Bruce Lee stuff, he's kind of here voluntarily, like
Yeah.
he's like voluntarily here.
Mhm.
And so he's just kind of talking and laughing, so he might not feel the same pressure as
Yeah.
like when I have like my elbow in his face, right?
That's fair.
So
That's
yeah,
fair.
that's kind of
Definitely
a
a
different
different
thing, right?
feel,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's a lot of
As
pressure.
I often have to tell Dre in training, if my words are meaningless, then let pain be your teacher. Okay, so all right, so here we go. So my issue with this quiz question is that it's a good question, but the
Multiple choice.
options are like you could guess which one would be the right one because of
Oh.
how bad the wrong ones are.
Okay.
Okay. So which of these best describes Bruce Lee's size? 4 options. 5'2" and 120 pounds. 6 foot and 155 pounds. 5'4" and 110 pounds, or 5'7" and 140 pounds.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, You want the answer?
Yes, give me the answer.
5'7"
Yeah, you're not skating out of
and
this. pretending
140
Yeah,
pounds.
I like how he's like, oh, you want the answer? Like, or is it so obvious I don't need to say it because I might not know it? Hey, he was 6 feet tall. We know that.
Well,
I know what it is. I just want to hear you say.
Yeah, I want to hear you say
wasn't
it.
he 5'7" and a half though?
Well, perhaps, but
Okay.
but that's a bit pedantic. All
Yeah,
right.
you're right.
But what I
Pedantic
would disagree
was
with
the
is that
word
he
I
was
was gonna
really
use.
140 pounds.
Mm.
Because that's kind of what he said.
Now,
Oftentimes,
was he 135 when he died?
no, man, he was
was
like barely a
125.
$120 when he died. man.
Damn.
So when he had his sweat glands removed from his armpits, which was in November of 72, which was the calendar year prior to his death, but it was actually just a number of months. It was within a year of his death. He had the sweat glands removed. I have a copy of the doctor's note, and he weighed 124 pounds. So,
I am my gosh.
so what people I think have and like also with the weird steroid allegations and stuff like that. When you actually look, not what Bruce Lee said he was 140. I don't care what Bruce Lee said. I'm going to look at what the doctors freaking said in the medical reports we have access to.
Yeah.
All right. At or around the time of Way of the Dragon, where he fought Chuck Norris, he was below 130 pounds. And what's crazy is when you see him in Way of the Dragon, that is for many people, including myself, kind of peak Bruce Lee. Because when you look at Bruce's physique in Way of the Dragon, especially when he's out there on the terrace and he flexes, of course,
The lat flare.
you got the lat flare. Well, he always had that.
Mhm.
But and look, as someone who kind of follows a lot of I go down weird bodybuilding rabbit holes, partially because of all the Bruce Lee steroid allegations that got me into like YouTube steroid stuff, which then
Yes.
got me into like this whole weird bodybuilding
great
YouTube stuff.
rabbit
So I
holes.
follow a lot of that
Yeah.
stuff. It's very interesting
Uh-huh.
as kind of an outsider looking at it. And the way you look in a photo or on video in terms of like your muscles and everything depends on so much like the down lighting, the way the light is set up,
Yeah.
even stuff like how dark your skin is in relation to the light. That's why bodybuilders do all that fake spray tan stuff so it can show up more. Whether you have a pump or not, like for sure, before Bruce Lee did that scene, he was busting out a bunch of push-ups
Okay.
and flexing to make sure that everything's kind of pumped up, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like he necessarily walked around like that. Because you could see Bruce when he wasn't pumped and had his shirt off, he was fit and muscular, but he wasn't. But then, he goes and does a bunch of push-ups and warms up, and suddenly you get blood in those muscles and they look
Mhm.
much
Pumped.
different, right?
Pump it up.
But for me, I think that Way of the Dragon, Bruce's his physique there is kind of peak
Mhm.
in terms of the best of a little bit of his size and kind of being a little more striated and lean. And he just, in my opinion, just looked really great in that movie. Although, if you compare his physique to the prior film, to Fists of Fury, and you really look at the shot side by side, you won't see a big difference. It's different in different lighting and whether he has a pump or not. But people highly exaggerate like the difference in those physiques. But you can still see he looked a little bit better in Way of the Dragon, in my opinion, right? And then when he did Enter the Dragon, he was considerably lighter. All right. But when he finished Way of the Dragon, I believe that was summer of 72, I believe. I could be wrong on that. And it was released in December. So in November, a month prior to Way of the Dragon being released, but a couple months arguably after he finished Way of the Dragon,
Mhm.
and we saw his physique in there, he was 124 pounds. So when you think of kind of peak Bruce in terms of his size and physique, he was within, and when you see the photos of Bruce in December at the premiere,
Who do we know that is that light?
no one. All right. I don't know anyone
that
that
height.
size. No, I don't know anyone. All right. Because even
I'm trying to
even
compare.
Ethan
He's
from
like
Brooklyn, who's
145.
he's still not that light.
Right.
But when you look at Bruce Lee in December of 72,
Uh-huh.
which is when Way of the Dragon came out, and it's a few weeks after the armpit surgery where we have his actual weight, his body looked the same, like in terms of his face and everything, because you could tell often by looking at someone's face whether they're on the heavy side or lighter side. Bruce more or less looked the same as he did in Way of the Dragon. So I believe that his weight in Way of the Dragon must be similar to what his weight was in November of 72, which was 124 pounds. But Bruce was often quoted saying he's 140. And I think that he may be, it's like everyone who's under 5'7" in Hollywood says they're 5'9". Everyone who's under 5'9" says they're 6 foot, like just between 5'7" and 5'9", right? I think there was a little bit of fudging going on in general about him,
Basketball players do that a lot.
Yeah,
too.
because I think just saying like I weigh 125 pounds doesn't sound very respectable. But he really, so obviously the answer to that question was 5'7" and 140 pounds. But I think when we really think of that Bruce that we know, he was lighter than that. I think his weight has been greatly exaggerated. And when you see his clothing, like I've talked about many times at the museum in Hong Kong, and you see his clothing on a mannequin with, a 27-inch waist. I mean, he was tiny. He was 5'7", same height as me, but I mean, his shoulders would fit within my shoulders if you could put it side by side.
I see.
But it's the proportions and the way they shot him on camera. Okay. What was the name of Bruce Lee's character in oh my God, they called it Return of the Dragon. First of all, this is supposed to be a quiz for hardcore fans, and every hardcore fan knows it's not called Return of the Dragon. I don't care if that's the title from the VHS, all right? Which actually means Way of the Dragon, all right? So when he fought Chuck, all right? Do you need the multiple choice for that, Dre?
I wouldn't like that. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Why not?
All right. Man, and again, in quiz design, it's I mean, I know the answer anyway, but it's almost obvious because the wrong answers are so bad.
The wrong answers are terrible.
But you could tell it was made by someone who wasn't Chinese because now they have to make up Chinese names that are not his character's name.
Chongi Itsu.
Chongi Itsu is on there, right? All right, first one. Li Ling, Chan, Wong, or Tang Long.
Okay.
All right, so what was it, Trey?
So, Tang Long.
Tang Long, very good. If you didn't get that, I'd kick you right in the nuts.
I got mixed up with a couple of other his movies.
Yeah.
Mainly the first movie. Or Thailand.
Yeah, but none of those other names were character names in any of his other films.
Got it.
So anyway, that justification is horseshit.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
That's
what
nice
was
try.
the name of Bob Wall's character in the Bruce Lee movie Enter the Dragon? By the way, this is the 12th out of 23 questions.
Okay.
So what was the name of Bob Wall's character in the Bruce Lee movie Enter the Dragon? Now, this is easy because Han yells it out.
Oh, don't tell me. Because
remember when he breaks the bottle after he's getting his ass kicked by Bruce, and then Han yells his character's name now. And then he also said, this character's treachery has disgraced us. That's all the hints I can give you, Dre.
Can I step in?
Of course, you can step in. Oh, you always do anyway.
Okay, no. Here. I'll give you the multiple guess, all right? Roper, Han, Steele, or O'Hara. Again, bad quiz design. What is it? He still doesn't know. Jesus Christ. O'Hara's treachery has disgraced us.
O'Hara!
Yeah. He literally only names two people. He says Bolo and O'Hara. All right? Those are the only two names he says. And you know it's not Bolo. Okay. Oh my God. All right. What were the names of Bruce Lee's two children?
Wait.
Were the names
of
Bruce Lee's two children?
Can I tell you?
Can we get the multiple choice?
No, before we do that, they already had one question asking what the name of his son was.
Right.
Yeah, I know. And it's an awful, this is clickbait bullshit, right?
Yeah,
Plus, I'll tell you something funny. I'm looking at the answers here. And the correct answer still misspelled the name of the daughter. It actually spelt it wrong. All right?
They spelled it, but they didn't say the
so
wrong name.
what are the names?
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it was Brandon.
Yes.
And Canton.
That's right. And they spelled Shannon Shannen instead of ON.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. This is not really this is not the
But
this
what
is
are
not
the
the
multiple
difficulty.
choice? I want to know.
Oh no, it was like Brenda, Brendan. They were all dumb. They were
Brenda.
all really dumb. Okay.
Brandon and Brenda.
All right. Ooh, now we're gonna get into the weeds here. What
Nice.
does Jeet Kune Do, a martial art developed by Bruce Lee, mean? So what is the translation? Do you need the multiple guesses here?
Way of the intercepting fist.
Way of the intercepting fist, yes. Do you want to know what the other choices were?
Yes, please.
The way of complete combat, the way of the dragon,
Oh,
the way of scientific fighting.
uh,
Can you imagine that? The way of scientific fighting. That would not be cumbersome at all. All right. So obviously, hey, but he's not doing bad. All right, except for
O'Hara.
Jesus. Okay.
why was his name O'Hara?
Question
first of all?
15 out of
Why-
23.
How did he get that name O'Hara?
How did Bolo get the name Bolo?
I mean, we,
Because
Yeah.
that's not his
wasn't-
real name.
it didn't mean.
That was his character's name in Enter
Yeah.
the Dragon, but he became so known by it, he goes as Bolo.
I know.
But actually, his name is Xiangji. It's not
Right.
Bolo, right?
He goes by his character's name
Yeah,
in a
he's
movie.
like, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly, right?
Bolo Yang.
Yeah, it would be like if Mike Myers went as Austin Powers everywhere he went,
Everywhere he
right? Just because
went.
that's
Hey,
what
it's
he was
Austin
known
now.
from, yeah.
Austin.
But it reminds me of the late, great Kwon Da-King, who played Wong Fei-hung in
Oh,
like
wow.
over 100 films.
Yeah.
He was so identified with that role that
Uh-huh.
the story was that when he would get into taxi cabs in Hong Kong,
Hong Fei-hong.
and they would like not let him pay because he was so revered,
Uh-huh.
and they would call him Wong Sifu, like as if he was
Wow,
Wong
I
Fei-hong,
love it.
even though his name is actually Guan, right?
Uh,
All right, so what well-known martial artist did Bruce Lee fight in his movie Game of Death? Because he fought a couple of martial artists, so I'll give you the choices here. Was it Jackie Chan, Ping Lee, Bolo Yeung, or Dan Inosanto?
I don't know. I'm going to say Dan Inosanto because I
Right.
don't know who the hell Ping Lee is anyway.
You don't know who Ping Lee is?
Who's Ping Lee?
You don't know who Ping Lee is?
I
he
probably
was
do.
the butler of Chong Yi Itsu.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. Shout out to Tom Bleecker and Psychics. All right. In what year did Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, come to the big screen? 95, 94, 93, or 92?
That's actually a bit of a difficult question. I'll
That
give
is a
him
bit
that
more
one.
difficult. Yeah.
95.
Speaking of things that
I'm going to go with 92.
Tom Bleeker's upset about Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. No, it's actually 93.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
Uh-huh. Oh, this is now we're getting into something here. This is like question 17 is
93.
getting into it. Who was the only performer to have appeared in all of Bruce Lee's completed films? Meaning we're gonna leave Game of Death out of this. So we're talking about the 4 canonical films of Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Way of the Dragon, and Enter the Dragon. Who is the only performer to have appeared in all of Bruce Lee's completed films? Okay, first option, Betty Chung. 2, Lee Ho Yan. 3, Tony Liu or Tony Lau, or Bob Wall.
Oh, Bob Wall.
Nope.
It wasn't Bob Wall.
Okay, look, was Bob Wall in Fist of Fury, where
No.
he fought all the Japanese? No, the token white guy was Bob Baker, the drug dealer. Was Bob
that
Wall
is a
in Big
good-
Boss, the one in Thailand?
It
No,
was not.
no, he was in Way of the Dragon, Enter the Dragon, and then later
Tony
in the
Liu. Tony
yeah,
Lau.
Tony
Tony
Liu,
Lau.
very good, Tony
Tony
Lau,
Liu.
yes.
Wow.
Tony,
Hey,
yeah, and,
that's a
and
good
what's interesting about Tony Lau, or Lau Wing is his Chinese name, is that he had very different roles in all of Bruce Lee's movies. So in Big Boss, he was the son of the Big Boss,
Yeah.
and he gets killed by Bruce with that punch. And then in the next movie, Fist of Fury, he's literally just a background. He's just one of the guys at the Jingmu Academy.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any special role in there, right?
Hmm.
In Way the Dragon, he's one of the waiters. And in Enter the Dragon, he's the tournament participant that gets beat up by John Saxon. Yeah. And so it's like 4 very different roles within those films, all right? Very good. Hey, not bad, Dre. I mean, it really goes to prove that even a broken clock is right twice a day. All right, so All right, here we go. In the Bruce Lee film Return of the Dragon, Way of the Dragon, Tang Lung told the men his martial art was what? So this is probably more for the English dub. All right, what did he say that he was doing? Remember, they're all learning karate, right? And then he's doing something else. Do you remember what it is, or do I need to give you the multiple guesses?
Multiple guesses. Would help.
Okay, so for question 18, all right, in the Bruce Lee film Way of the Dragon, Tang Lung told the men his martial art was, first option, knowledgeable fighting. Second option, kung fu. Third option, kung fu. Or fourth option, Chinese boxing. I think you know what it is.
Chinese boxing.
Yes. But you see what I mean? Like, the quiz design is so poor. You know what I mean? Like it they could have made the answers more similar, so you have to think about it, right? What actor? So next question. 19 out of 23. So we're getting in that home stretch of the final four before we go on to the next quiz. Hopefully it's not as goddamn easy as this one. What actor played the Green Hornet to Bruce Lee's Kato on television in the 1960s? Do you know the name of the actor?
His name is a tough name to Britch or something like that. Britch.
Yeah, but we're talking about it's the actor, not the character. Who played Britt Reed? This is so easy.
Multiple choice.
Okay. It's David Carradine. No, I'm just kidding. But David Carradine is one of the choices. Jim Kelly, Herb Jackson, or Van Williams.
Ooh.
Oh my God! By process of elimination, that one is
Van
easy.
Williams.
Van Williams. Thank you. He plays possum a lot. Like he's like,
absolutely.
oh, I got to think about it. Van Williams. All right, not too bad. So now we are on to question 20. Let's see how easy this is. In which of these television series did Bruce Lee not make an appearance? Batman, Ironside, Longstreet, or Mission Impossible? So easy. So easy.
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible. Yeah.
I was about to start singing the theme and then realized that actually the theme I was going to start singing was The People's Court. So I decided not to do
it. He's going to the People's Court?
Yeah.
His helmet.
That's Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
No, Mission Impossible is dun 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 dun.
So I know some actors in New York who made fake disputes for People's Court.
That's great.
Oh, really?
Where one sued the other one and then the other one countersued, and then they totally made up the dispute, and the court is the one that actually pays for those. The TV show pay because they're all small claims, so like the TV show will just pay it.
Yeah.
And so whoever wins doesn't matter, and they just split the money. It's like a New York hustle right there.
Yeah, I've considered doing that. I'm not gonna lie. Hey, Dre, do you want to make some money?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Could
Dre.
you imagine we did that?
Okay.
What am I suing you for?
I don't care.
Here we go. In question
They're paying for
21,
it.
we're almost done. All right. In the original plot of Game of Death, what building would Bruce have entered? Are you kidding me? Like, what type of building?
Can I get the multiple choice?
Oh, get the fuck out of here. Come on.
Come on. This is great.
Come on. It's tower, temple, skyscraper, or pagoda. Jesus.
Skyscraper.
Yeah, that's actually right. Yeah, skyscraper. No, it's pagoda. Come on. Dude, really? Only a hardcore Bruce Lee fan would get this one right?
Okay.
Are you kidding me? 22. You got two more.
I love pagodas, by the way. And all I did was take photos and videos of pagodas in Hong Kong.
Yeah,
Great.
although we didn't see any. All right. Bruce Lee's film Fist
We
of
saw a
Fear.
few. What are you talking about?
Huh?
10,000
10,000 Buddha Temple.
I love how Bruce like how Dre always gets the name 10% wrong. He doesn't get it.
I said
He doesn't
1,000.
get it completely wrong because it's like the 10,000 Buddha monastery, and he'll be
Right.
like the 1,000 pagoda Buddhist monastery, right?
Them monks.
Yeah.
Buddhas.
All right, Dre. Bruce Lee's film Fists of Fury is also known as what? Now, this is a trick. Because whoever you did this damn quiz was going by the American 80s titles. Because As many people know, when these films were originally released on VHS, and even before that, there was a name swap.
Mm-hmm.
So Big Boss, Fist of Fury, and Way the Dragon got different names on their initial release.
Mhm.
And I just want to remind you that there's a
Was it Chinese Connection?
that there's a difference between Fists of Fury and Fist of Fury.
Oh my God. That's
And yes.
wild.
So here they're saying Fists of Fury is also known as what? Or the question would be better stated, what is the original title of Fists of Fury?
What are the choices? This is
The Big Boss. So here's where I go. This is dumb quiz design.
uh-huh.
The Big Boss, Fury Fighters, The Big Break, or Fist Fighters. You see, like, if this quiz was designed well, it would be The Big Boss, Chinese Connection, Way the Dragon. Like, they would put the other Bruce Lee titles in there, not 3 other movies that are clearly not Bruce Lee films.
Yeah, they sound like a particular kind of film. Fist
Yes.
Fighters?
Yeah, Fisting Fury.
Yes.
Yes.
Big Boss.
The Big Boss, of course, right? Because when that was first released, it was released as Fists of Fury, which is actually the English title of the second movie, but they changed it from Fist to Fists. And then Fist of Fury was changed to Chinese Connection because the film The French Connection was so successful, they
Right,
wanted to have
right.
a connection in the
Connect,
titles,
yeah.
right? So, all right. So I think we are now down to the last one.
Okay.
All right.
This is fun. Oh,
What
no.
was Bruce Lee's nickname? The Chinese Missile, Wild Dragon, Little Dragon, or Oriental Express? All right. Everyone knows it's the Chinese Missile.
The Oriental Express.
The Oriental Express. I would love for there to have been a Chinese actor that went by the Chinese
The
Missile.
Chinese Missile.
Anyway, it's not actually it's not there. They haven't put the right answer. It's three-legged Lee.
That was the one I was hoping was going to come up.
You know what I'm saying?
I was literally like, okay,
So
guys
there
know
you
some-
go, Dre.
know some shits.
You failed the quiz.
Damn.
All
Little
right.
Dragon.
Hard fail.
Jesus Christ. Well, I don't know, man. That's like the level that people feel like that they think is like hardcore. They need to come up with like
This is
a
Click
real,
Warren Beatty, man.
yeah, ridiculous. Okay, so now we'll do one more quiz, and it was great because there was a little bit of fact checking going on there, and also what was strange is that whoever did it had a very superficial knowledge of Bruce Lee because they were using the American titles. All right.
Some different knowledge.
Yeah. All right. So
Knowledge
this is
is
the
king.
Bruce Lee phenomenon trivia quiz. All right.
Phenomenon.
Estimated time 5 minutes. It'll take us longer than that. All right.
Hey everyone, it's the Kung Fu Genius. Fans and practitioners all know that the wooden dummy is the most coveted tool in Wing Chun, and now you can learn all about it in my cleverly titled book, The Wooden Dummy. I wrote this guide with you, the practitioner, in mind. Rather than mystifying any of the concepts or hiding so-called secrets, I've laid it all out in meticulous detail. The book is contextualized for practitioners of any lineage of the art, not just those who come from WT. Over 300 pages in length, The Wooden Dummy breaks down every aspect from the form, both technical, historical, theoretical details, and it makes it the perfect companion for anyone who's learning the wooden dummy techniques. I've even sweetened the deal for you. If you want to get a copy of this book signed by me, just use the coupon code SIGNATURE when you purchase the unsigned copy, and you will get the signed copy at no additional cost. So go to the link below or go to citywingchun.com/shop. Look up the Wooden Dummy book. Don't miss your chance. This is definitely one of the best books I've ever written on the Wooden Dummy, and I hope you'll find it's the best book ever written on the Wooden Dummy. Get yours today. Check it out.
When was Bruce Lee born? November 27th, 1940, April 27th, 1938, October 4th, 1940, or October 4th, 1937?
November 27th, 1940.
There you go. All right. Now, this one here, this quiz is set up a little bit differently. You just click on it, and then it doesn't have like a submit answer. So I think we will know at the end how many you got right. All right. Or how many you got wrong.
Ooh.
What initially spurred Bruce on to start martial arts? He lost a street fight when he was 13. His dad was a boxer. He could already do flying kicks without practice. He found it hard to get up in the mornings. not to get it up in the morning.
I
Like,
was.
calm
This
down.
is kind of ridiculous.
He lost the fight,
Yes, supposedly.
supposedly.
All right, Bruce became a notorious street fighter and had a bad reputation with the police, so his father sent him back to where he was born. It was, this is the specific city.
Okay, you want the multiple or no multiple?
So where did Bruce go when he was shipped off after he got in trouble when he was 18? Specific city. San Francisco. Dre, you are not that bad, I'll tell you. All right, for someone who gives off the impression that he doesn't pay attention, you do occasionally pay attention.
To impress you once
Okay.
in a while.
All right. Now, here we go. Now, again, I think some of these questions will probably I'm looking at this real quick and this looks like one of those weird fact-checky type things.
Okay.
Bruce was unconventional in his teachings. He read upon many martial arts, including Aikido, Western pugilism, Taekwondo, and fencing. He developed a personal library of over 2,000 books. But other Chinese sifus were mainly angry because he was, here come the 4 choices, using chopsticks with his left hand, teaching his students how to master weapons, the first person to introduce full contact sparring with pads, teaching the Guaylo Caucasians or foreign devils. Now, I can guess what the person who made the quiz is going to say the answer is, but I'm going to have to say it's kind of bullshit.
I'm getting the impression that maybe this person watched Dragon, the Bruce Lee story,
Yes,
and
I
is
think so,
taking
too.
all of
Yes,
his
yes.
questions based on that.
But you know what's interesting? Because we have often discussed about the issues of general Bruce Lee misinformation, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's like people who are intentionally peddling fake stories like Beardy, just by making it up, just going straight to clickbait titles and just making up whatever because he doesn't know anything about Bruce Lee, or Bruce Lee Real Fight Channel, which does a little bit of a 50-50 thing. Sometimes it's real, sometimes it's bullshit. To Tom Bleecker, who's a fucking liar. To all like the clickbaity stuff in
Got all
between,
thing
right?
In between, right?
Yeah, and then
Got
of
the
course, like,
extremes.
and then you have people who are just like say shit in the comments, and Bruce Lee lost a fight for Karate Guy Travador Ramos or whatever. Like people just
Travador
make up all this
Ramos,
shit, right?
yes.
And then you end up having to like fight a sea of like kind of nonstop, bullshit that's made in the
Two extremes
conspiracy.
and everything in between.
Yes, in the conspiracy sausage, and and then unfortunately you have kind of like when it comes to like Bruce Lee facts, you have they're kind of like layers.
Mhm.
All right, you have like the kind of I wouldn't say Wikipedia because Wikipedia can go deep into some topics. You have the Reader's Digest version, which is just kind of like what everyone tacitly accepts about Bruce Lee. And this is kind of one of those things like, he was, angering the Chinese martial arts community because he was teaching non-Chinese. And that's really a load of
And
bullshit.
Guaylos and the White Devils.
It's more or less the same thing.
Yeah.
So here they're going to say like, oh, that's why he was pissing them off. But in reality, there is no collective Chinese martial arts community that cares about what one person in one style that is not your own style, who or whom they are not teaching. But that has been the trope, so I'm going to say it's probably
Well,
teaching.
isn't
with
that
Guaylo.
why Wang Jackman came to America to fight him?
Oh, why he came to America? Oh,
Isn't
yes.
that why?
Yeah, according to the documentary A Birth of the Dragon.
Right.
So what did Bruce Lee think about physical training? This is a very bad quiz because that's a very open-ended question. Mainly used to build up people's confidence, not essential. Technique is the most important. The most neglected element of martial arts for student preparation are only necessary if you're relatively weak in the first place. I mean, these are like Fisher Price questions on this one here. So I'm going to guess he's going to say the most neglected element of martial arts training for student participation because, at that time, the idea of doing physical training that was more like general fitness stuff that like Bruce Lee did, whether it was
Right.
weight training or cardio on the exercise bike or running or rope skipping, all the different types of specific grip training he did, all the different types of bags and targets and stuff that he had. Well, maybe not so much that stuff, but a lot of fighters and martial artists in the old days,
Mhm.
and even recently, even into the more modern era, you still get it, but it's a little bit of a vestige of kind of old wives' tales, which is that if you start, let's say, for example, like if you start weight training, lifting weights,
Yeah.
it's going to ruin your martial arts. You're going to become muscle bound. You're going to
Gonna be
become
tight.
stiff. You're going to
Yeah.
become tight.
Uh-huh.
And I think what happens with those examples is like that's like a lot of old bro science, like from the old days. That they even, but it's not just in Asian martial arts. That was a big thing in boxing. That
Mhm.
like in boxing for the longest
You
time,
got
it
to do
was
calisthenics. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah, it was okay to do push-ups and maybe pull-ups and all the stuff with your body, but if you start lifting extra weights, it's going to make you muscle bound, it's going to make you slow and I think the example was always looking at bodybuilders, which in general, although it's not always the case, you sometimes find very athletic bodybuilders.
Are limited in movement.
But
Right.
for the most part, like if you've ever taught a bodybuilder martial arts, and I've taught several,
Yeah.
we always bring up the example of Tom
Mhm.
Jimenez,
Right.
who's a former professional bodybuilder. He's still in his, he's about 10, I would say he's about 10 years older than me, but he still bodybuilds and he's
Yeah.
still crazy jacked.
Jack, dude.
But he's an exception to the rule because he is, even though he's like, let's say, was a little bit older when he started Wing Chun and he's very muscle bound as a bodybuilder,
Mhm.
he also, bizarrely enough, is quite athletic. He has a very high vertical jump. He can, he can move.
I never knew that.
Yeah,
I never knew it. I never
yeah.
seen him jump
He's actually quite athletic
for a bodybuilder.
for a bodybuilder,
Yeah.
right? With the if you have to you would have to take Tom out of the pool of bodybuilders that I've taught, and to
Yeah.
be realistic without exaggerating, I think I've taught maybe 5 people who are like bodybuilders who
He's
are
the only
actively.
pro bodybuilder I've ever met, too.
Oh yeah,
I think.
right. I've met a
trained
few, and I've taught probably about 5, including Tom. But I don't mean people who go to the gym and lift weights or people who are even just jacked. I mean people who bodybuild. Okay, all right,
Right.
bodybuild.
The culture.
Yes.
Yes.
Taught maybe about 5, including Tom. So yes, it's not a good sample size to make that, to make a blanket statement. But I have to admit, all right, and I welcome any type of student to come and train and learn Wing Chun, and everyone gets something different out of it.
Yeah.
The other bodybuilders that I taught were almost incapable of doing Wing Chun to any decent degree because they did have massive impingements on their musculature because of the size of their shoulders and the size of their pecs. The ability to bring their elbow in wasn't there. Now, of course, you have to make a workaround. You can't say, oh, you can't bring your elbows in, you can't do Wing Chun. If you're a good instructor, you have to find a workaround.
Yeah.
I have other students who are power lifters, and they have similar problems as a bodybuilder, not because they have, they're not lifting weights because of like any kind of aesthetics. They're lifting weights to be stronger, but they also pack on enough size in certain areas
Yeah.
that a lot of those joints that they need mobility in get impinged for martial arts or Wing Chun purposes, right? So what you have to do with people who can't do that, it's also the same as people who have an injury and can't move their shoulder in that direction. You have to, as an instructor, create a workaround. Okay, like yes, they cannot bring their elbow in that classic Wing Chun way. Am I going to tell this person, sorry, I can't teach you?
Mhm.
No, you have to find a way, like, instead of bringing their elbow in, they have to learn maybe to stick a little bit better.
It's
or
funny. I
differently.
remember when I first started training with Ricky,
Mhm.
Jack Ricky from down south, and,
From North
and
Carolina.
he was telling me, yeah, I stopped training completely, like with lifting weights once I started Wing Chun.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was like, but he moves so well
Right.
for a jack dude, and I was
Yes.
like, oh, because he stopped training.
It's usually, I think, the matter of whether, because I'm of the opinion. I mean, I've read some literature, but I'm not a sports scientist, so I can't. Don't quote me on this. But from some of the literature I've read, that if you have trained in sports, especially different types of sports when you were young,
Mhm.
that is usually more of an indicator in terms of how athletic you would be in general, which seems like a no-brainer. But what I mean is like if you were an adult who didn't really do any sports as a child and then started to bodybuild as a teenager or in your early 20s, but you didn't have, let's say, lots of sports or martial arts or anything like that prior to your bodybuilding training,
Mm,
then I would tend to think that that group probably is the less athletic of the bodybuilding group.
I see.
But I'm also sure that there are people who were previously athletic who became such mass monsters in bodybuilding that most of whatever that athleticism that was there before might have been decimated by. Yeah, I'm talking about people who have so much contractile muscle tissue on their bodies that they cannot possibly move well. But
Mm,
there are examples of bodybuilders, even like IFBB pro bodybuilders, who in their routines would do like the splits and would do all sorts of crazy stuff, right?
uh,
And Coach Greg Doucette, who's like I'm a huge fan of his channel.
yeah.
He's also very athletic because of his background prior to bodybuilding. So it's not like, oh, if you lift weights, you're going to be muscle bound. But the other reason why that's a bit of an old wives' tale is that your people are saying like you can't lift weights and be good at martial arts.
Mm,
And then what is the example that they take to say you can't do that? The most extreme version of that, which is bodybuilding. But most people don't go to the gym 2, 3, 4 times a week or even once a week and end up looking like an IFBB pro bodybuilder anyway. So the idea
Yeah.
that, okay, let's say you do Wing Chun or you do Jeet Kune Do or you do karate 2, 3 times a week, and then another, 2, 3 times a week you go to the gym and just do some normal weight training, you're not going to suddenly become Arnold Schwarzenegger and then not be able to move, right? It's also like if you know how much is involved
into that, yeah,
in getting that jacked,
that building of a body. Yeah.
yes, then you're gonna realize like, no, these are very unfounded ideas here. And if you have, some muscular strength and some hypertrophy and some weight training, and you do it well and in a way where you don't get injured, that can be quite beneficial to your martial arts training. But a lot of people didn't believe that. Although I believe, like in those days,
Mhm.
in the '60s, the typical boxer, karate instructor is going to say, no, you can't lift weights or you're going to be muscle bound. But when you look back at some of the really best guys in that era, both in boxing and in martial arts,
Mm.
in my opinion, some of them look like they were lifting weights. So I think what you had is in those days, because it was stigmatized to lift weights and do martial arts, I
Ah,
think you had closeted weightlifters in martial arts, you know?
that is
Just
an
and in
interesting
Chinese martial arts
scenario.
in particular, because
Yeah.
if you're lifting weights to make your muscles strong, it's because you don't understand the technique,
Yeah.
and it's not about muscles. Yes,
Yeah.
look, if you this is what I never understood about the like, oh, it's not about muscles and it's not about strength if you have the technique and the leverage and all. I get that,
Mhm.
but what happens when you have the technique and the leverage and the skill and you're strong? Okay, why does it have to be one or the other? Okay, you
A
either
freak
get
of nature.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's because it's so easy for people who want to argue a position
Mhm.
to have to make a caricature of the opposite position rather than steel man it. They always straw man it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you are here with your perfect, awesome technique. You don't fight force. You have, let's say, in the example of Wing Chun, you have good closing skills, good attacking skills, good sticking skills, Chisao skills, good reactions, good positions, good structure, and all of that you've achieved purely through training Wing Chun with competent instruction.
Mhm.
Okay, what's to say that we now add strength to those attributes or speed or other physical things? Yes, I know those things aren't sustainable. You're not going to keep them forever. But this idea of stigmatizing strength in Chinese martial arts, as it was stigmatized in boxing and other martial arts as well, but I'm just talking about Kung Fu for now, always seemed to me that it was like people who didn't want their students to get too strong and give them difficulty. So they would say, no, you can't do that or whatever, right?
Oh, interesting.
And it's very clear
Yeah.
that there were closeted bodybuilders
Yeah.
at that time, or at least strength trainers with weights, right?
With weights. Okay.
And in Wing Chun in particular, man, because Wing Chun is all about borrowing force and, it's not about strength. And look at Yip Man and all this as if we're all Yip Men, right?
Right. Yip
Uh,
men.
The weird thing is that it's so stigmatized. I remember even in Germany when I was learning Wing Chun before, I started learning from Sifu Leung Ting,
Uh-huh.
I had a Siheng who taught Wing Chun at a fitness studio, at a weightlifting gym.
Yeah.
They had a room there and he would teach it, and clearly he would also lift weights. Okay.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, you looked at his body and it's like,
Yeah.
I know what it looks like when someone does calisthenics, just like, pull-ups, push-ups, or someone who just gets their strength training through martial arts or heavy bag training or cardio or whatever. And when someone gets their physique through lifting weights because of the size of the muscles and the balance and stuff like that, right? And this guy, he was one of my Siheng. He had the most obvious bodybuilding style physique.
Mm.
He had the X frame, the V taper,
Yeah.
the pecs, the the Death Star deltoids,
Yeah.
the biceps, the triceps, the forearms. His hands were really thick and knobby, like in the way a lot of bodybuilders' hands are. Thick quads, everything. And I was pretty sure he was probably also taking steroids.
Okay.
And because it's Wing Chun, because it's a traditional Chinese martial art, we don't weight lift. And in the Leung Ting system, you would wear the instructors would wear those jackets, the technician jackets, and he would like come to training in the technician jacket, which exposed his chesticles, and he would untie it and he would show his abs,
Yeah.
and he would like invite people to come and hit him,
Uh-huh.
and then he would say, "From the Sunam Tao." All right, and the thing is, I knew he was lying.
Yeah.
He taught in a
Yeah.
fitness studio, right?
Right.
But it's this thing, it's like it's so stigmatized
From the
to lift weights and do martial arts that it's like, even if you do it, you say bullshit like, "Hey, do you see that tricep?"
Uh-huh.
It's purely from training the wall bag.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And you're like, and your bicep is
Right.
from doing the strength training with the long pole, right?
Mhm.
Your shoulders, it's from the knife, it's from holding the pole. Yeah, no, bro. You're doing
You're
doing
doing
lateral raises with dumbbells.
little
Shut up,
something,
right?
yeah.
Okay. So it seems that, what did Bruce think about physical training? It's a neglected element of martial arts training. So I think some of these topics are actually interesting, and in this case, it's more interesting than this second quiz. Okay, here we get into some wooey bullshit. Bruce could catch grains of rice in midair with a knife and fork. True or false? I never heard of this before, but this sounds like someone
With a
watched
knife
a
and
bunch
fork?
of clickbait stuff and made a quiz from clickbait.
I would actually prefer that they said with chopsticks.
Yeah. So you're gonna say false?
False.
All right, false. All right. For me, I'm. It's just sounds
Knife
like-
and
It's gonna
fork.
sounds like
it's
bullshit.
gonna be funny if it comes out that it's true.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
right?
video
Yeah.
footage of it.
Yeah.
No, it's documentary footage. This person has watched Dragon.
I'm sure Beardy's gonna get a couple topic ideas from this quiz.
Oh,
While that
absolutely.
second quiz sounded better than the first one.
Wow.
The first quiz had too many dates and facts. This one is vague
is-
enough that he
yeah.
can create bullshit.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. And Beardy, we still hate you.
Yeah.
In Bruce's opinion, what are the most important muscles? Where's this information coming from? This sounds like something that when they were channeling Chong I Itsu, one of the things he said: biceps, abdominals, triceps, or deltoids.
He probably said deltoids in an interview somewhere. This guy's read it and gone, yes, that's what it is.
Right. So I'm gonna
I'm
guess
gonna
it's
say-
abdominals
Okay.
because
Core.
Bruce would talk about like this,
The quad strength.
it's important or whatever. But I don't
Suit
know
and
if he
towel.
actually really believed that.
Okay.
Bruce's number 8. Bruce's fighting concept Jeet Kune Do translate roughly as what? Okay, it's the same question as in the other one. It's obviously a different quiz, so there may be some similar questions.
Yeah.
It's obviously the art of being untouchable. All right, sorry, no, the way of the intercepting fist.
I prefer the way of the exploding fist. You remember that?
Yeah.
Exploding fist.
All right, do you want to learn? Do you want to have a Cantonese lesson here
Yes.
towards the end of this episode?
Of course.
Okay.
Always down.
All right. So I used to do this with Big Sean on the Dudes of Kung
Yeah.
Fu podcast. Yeah, because he always liked he had
Cantonese quiz?
No. He had a Chinese coworker that spoke Cantonese.
Yeah.
And I would give him little phrases and stuff, and he would occasionally, like, I
Ooh.
taught him the phrase "hurry up," which is "fai di la,"
Faidila.
like hurry up, right? And he would say this to his Chinese coworker, and like his coworker was like, "Oh my god," right?
Faidila.
And then so Sean wanted me to teach him like a Chinese saying in every episode, and we wouldn't do it every episode, not just because we'd forget to do it, right?
Mhm.
And so, but every once in a while, we would have a segment on Dudes of Kung Fu where I would teach him some usually something related to Wing Chun, or I would try to get him to pronounce like Jeet Kune Do correctly because the joke about Big Sean, who was a Jeet Kune Do instructor, is that everyone said he would say chicken dough, like dough made of chicken. He would say chicken dough, right?
Chicken dough. Yeah.
So and so today's Cantonese phrase, okay?
Mhm.
Bao sec, bao sec,
Bao sec.
bao sec. Bao means to explode or explosion.
Okay.
Bow sec.
Perfect.
Bao
Sec
sec.
means rocks. So it means to explode rocks. Can you guess what to explode rocks would mean? If I say I'm going to bao sec, I'm going to explode rocks. What am I saying?
Smoke some crack.
What do you say?
Explode rocks
Mhm.
would probably mean in Hong Kong, right?
Yeah, it's a Hong Kong slang. It's
Uh.
translated directly as explode rocks, but obviously that's euphemistic. There's a meaning to it. Do you want to know?
I want.
Means to have diarrhea. All right. So okay, so here we go. On that, yeah. This is real classy today on the
Bao
Kung Fu
sec.
Genius podcast.
Bao
right.
sec.
Ooh. This is we just recorded this yesterday. So
Yeah.
for our listeners, it's most likely last week's episode.
Yeah.
Where we did the Bruce Lee the Lost interview.
Yes.
And he said, so it's a quote. Number 9, martial art has a very deep meaning as far as my life is concerned. For Bruce, what did martial arts mean? Empty left hand. That's a weird choice.
Hey, yo.
Ultimate control over an opponent. Formidable power. Or the honest expression of the human body. My God. Quiz design, people.
Come on, guys.
Yes. Because especially if you've seen that interview.
Yeah.
He should have taken, or whoever made this quiz, I'm assuming it's a he because it's dumb, should have taken like 4 lines that he said in that interview.
Thank you.
So then you would be like, oh, then you would have to think about it,
Like,
right?
confused,
Because you'd be
like,
like,
wait.
yeah, I think it's probably the honest expression of the human body. But then there was like the whole like,
Mhm.
you know, if you put be water, martial arts meant to be like water, right? And then you know, it'd be but quiz design, people. Come on.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Would you like to phone a friend?
Yes. Number 10. Bruce
Okay.
was capable of exploding a 100-pound punch bag with a simple sidekick. True or false? Exploding. Now, again, this is like
he can break the leather of the bag or the interior of the
this is what I
exterior
don't
of the
like
bag, and the
because
sand falls
where
out.
where
Yeah.
is this quiz guy getting his information from?
Uh-huh.
And also, it's like, did Bruce? I have no doubt Bruce broke a 100-pound bag at some. I've broken heavy bags and
Yeah.
straps over time. These things
Uh-huh.
break. You're beating the shit out of it,
Right.
right? But exploding. All
Like-
right, like actually, all
actual
right.
explosion where
I'm gonna say
fire
in
is
real life,
involved?
probably false, because who explodes a bag? But I'm gonna say this guy is probably gonna say it's true because he probably like busted the bag. You know what I mean? Like in the wooey world of this quiz. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep it moving here. All right.
great quiz. by the
11.
way.
This is an awful quiz. In Bruce's opinion, what is the best style of martial arts? Ninjutsu, Kung Fu, Western pugilism combined with Kung Fu are no style. One must adapt to his or her opponent. Jesus Christ, that's some lazy quiz design. It's obviously ninjutsu.
No, it's Tai Chi.
That's right. Tai Chi Chuan, as Bruce Lee said.
Tai Chi Chuan.
12. How heavy was Bruce Lee?
This is a good one. Let's see.
Between 130 and 145 pounds, 150 to 160 pounds, 160 pounds or 165 pounds. Well, obviously, 100 to 130 to 145 pounds, although way closer to 130, perhaps less.
Right.
How tall was Bruce Lee? I'm not going to give you.
Do they put the half in this one?
No.
Ah.
Oh, actually, yes, they did.
They did.
Yes, they
All
did.
right. Finally, someone put the half.
All
in
right.
it.
So what is it?
5'7.5".
5'7.5". All right.
Just like my seafood.
That's right. In 1970, Bruce survived a car crash, only suffering 2 broken ribs, mainly due to his extraordinary physique.
I love
Is it true or false? Did he survive a car crash?
1970.
Yeah. Well, he had an accident in 1970. Was it a car crash?
No.
No. It was
Back.
hurt his back doing Good Mornings, or was most likely the case. It was
Good
actually
morning.
It's actually during intercourse with Linda.
Morning.
That's actually
Morning glory?
what the doctor.
He was doing morning glories.
Yep. There was no joke. I'm actually not joking.
Right.
Like the doctor's note about how he got that crazy spaz in his back was during a bout of intercourse. But the official story has always been good mornings. Now he probably also hurt his back doing other things as well. And he had back pain prior to this 1970 accident. I think in the late 60s, 68, 67, 68, 69. I think I had read somewhere that he had already started to hurt his back. So I think he had some issues with his lower back. What philosophy did Bruce maintain to adopt in martial arts? Be like water. No one is invincible. The enemy deserves no mercy. A man can't stand. A man can't fight. Well, we know what the quiz answer is, right?
We know that he was bedridden for some time.
Yes. But we know it's going to be like water according to this quizticle. But look, no one is invincible. Was that Bruce Lee's overriding philosophy? No, but he probably believed in that. The enemy deserves no mercy. Yeah, I mean, there are times when maybe a man can't stand, a man can't fight. Hey, man, that's just good common sense right there. All right. A man can catch a wrench, or man can dodge a wrench, he can dodge a dodgeball. The speed of Bruce Lee's punches was between 5 to 8 hundredths of a second. True or false? How do we know any of this? They didn't even have. How could they measure any of this stuff?
That's not even a proper measurement of speed.
Yes, 5 to 8 hundredths of a second.
Yeah. Like 5 to 8 of what? Of kilometers an hour? Man, you know what I mean? It's
That's
like
the best answer. I love that answer.
No, I think that his punch landed in 5 to 8 hundredths of a second, which.
But what if he punched from here?
And what if?
Or what was
Nothing makes sense. This quiz is horseshit.
I thought the first quiz was horseshit, and I was like, this is.
Could Bruce puncture unopened Coke cans with his fingers?
Wait, cans full of cocaine?
No, although that's a great guess. So I heard a story that he did such a thing. But I heard the story from only one person.
All right.
And it's not like a well subscribed to story, so I don't know. I'm gonna say it's false.
But
it could, I don't know.
How many fingers is he using? All of his fingers, or just one pointer?
I don't know if it would really matter.
Right.
It would be over the course of do you remember in Karate Kid 2 when he goes back to Okinawa and his old childhood buddy, who's now his rival Sato, is like chopping the piece of wood, but it's so big, it's like he just had worn a little bit of a dent into it because he's just chopping it over time. I'm thinking like with all of Bruce's fingers, did like over the course of 6 years, he finally break a can of Coke. What was Bruce's attitude towards training for combat? These are like oddly open-ended questions with very specific answers. Enemy deserves no mercy. Talking about combat, you need to develop every part of your body. A swift knockout is necessary. Better to have a weapon.
Wait, reread that question for me.
What was Bruce's attitude towards training for combat? Towards training. Enemy deserves no mercy. That's, I don't know. Talking about combat, you need to develop every part of your body. I'm going to say that because he talked about you have to train every part of your body.
Yeah. He
seems to kind of make sense.
We heard him say that. Yeah.
What was Bruce's definition of strength? Really? How open? Where do we get this information from? Was there did he once say, this is my definition of strength? The ability to be unaffected by anything, the ability of the body to endure all attacks, the ability of the body to assert great force, the ability of the body to overcome any obstacle.
I would say
to be unaffected by anything?
I would say
to overcome any obstacle?
No. Yeah, I would say.
I don't know about that. These are not specific enough.
Yeah.
All right. So here we're going to go. We're going to submit the answers.
Oh, we get the answers. We get the correct answers.
All right. So here we go. Let's see how well we did. All right. When was Bruce Lee born? You got that answer correct. November 27, 1940. What initially spurred Bruce on to start martial arts? He lost a street fight when he was 13. I mean, is that the main reason? Probably, but there could be other things, right? What I don't like about it is how confident this quiz is on what it knows or thinks it knows about Bruce Lee. It's a lot like Tom Bleecker. Bruce became a notorious street fighter and had a bad reputation with the police, so his father sent him back to, it was to San Francisco. That was correct. Then teaching the Guaylo, of course, was the thing that, they say most of the students were angry about.
Teach Guaylo.
No, it's
in anything, any
you shouldn't.
context.
I don't teach
subject,
I don't
anything.
teach any Guaylo present
Right.
company
Please
excluded
don't.
anything about martial arts. What did Bruce think about physical training? That it was the most neglected part. We got that right. I like even in the weird open-ended bullshit questions so far, we seem to be doing good. Bruce could catch grains of rice midair with a knife and fork. We said false. That was correct.
Oh, wow.
I never heard anything like that. And also, wouldn't it be chopsticks? In Bruce's opinion, what are the most important muscles? Abdominals. So I don't know if that's actually what he would think, but I was just thinking about the shithead who wrote this quiz.
Yeah.
That's what
You
this
gotta
shithead
know
would think
what
it
they-
was, right?
Right. Gotta
The
know who wrote the quiz.
definition of Jeet Kune Do we got right. Martial arts has a very deep meaning, the honest expression of the human body. Bruce was capable of exploding a 100-pound bag with a simple kick. I said true, and that's correct. But I'm just
right.
thinking that's the person who wrote this is going to say that that's true, right?
Yeah, it's very much like Captain America in the beginning of the Avengers when he's
yeah.
having the flashbacks and he constantly
Yes.
finishes by punching
Right.
the bag off.
Well,
and
that's
that's the implication there.
Right.
So like he can just go up to a bag and be so powerful. It's
Exactly.
like bam.
In
Well,
Bruce's
that's
opinion, what was the
what he
best
meant.
style?
Yeah.
No style. One us to a blend of the opponent. How heavy was Bruce Lee? Between 130. We got that right. How tall was Bruce Lee? 5'7.5". Then what else we got here? It's I'm trying to scroll down here, but I only have the pad. I don't have my mouse. And it's also one of those asshole clickbait websites that have ads everywhere. And so you have to it's like navigating this mystery meat navigation is very difficult. In 1970, Bruce survived a car crash. True or false? False. Yeah, we all know it was something else. What philosophy did Bruce Lee maintain to adopt in martial arts? Be like water. Oh, we got a question here wrong.
Ooh.
The speed of Bruce's punch were between 5 and 800ths of a second. A second. I said it was false. They said it was true. How they know?
How?
This? Where was the where are these measurements on Bruce's punch? And if you're basing it on the film stuff, where they're literally, the film at that time is like 8 frames a second or 16 or something like that, right? That means there's still missing photos in there. So there's certain ways Bruce would look a little faster than he was. Could Bruce puncture an unopened Coke cans with his fingers? I said false, but this cockknuckle here said true.
That is true.
What was Bruce's attitude to train for combat? You need to develop your whole body. I figured that. I was just thinking, okay, instead of the correct answer, what did this guy think, right? What was Bruce's definition of power? I had no idea, so I just picked a random one.
Mhm.
The correct answer was the ability to produce a quick, sudden movement to move the body with maximum effort. No. Move the body with maximum effort. No, Bruce was all about efficiency.
That makes
About
zero
minimum
sense.
effort. No, it's stupid. This is a bad quiz. What was Bruce's definition of strength? The correct answer was the ability of the body to assert great force. We said to overcome an obstacle. So we got 16 out of 20. All right. But on that second quiz, we kind of did it together, but that was a bullshit quiz, man. All right. I should make an actual Bruce
Why
Lee quiz.
not? For the Kung Fu Genius podcast
Kung Fu Genius
on
podcast.
YouTube,
Yeah.
make a quiz.
Make a quiz. You know what? I could do it on Google Sheets,
Yeah.
or Google Quiz.
Yeah.
And we could
For
have
the
Bruce
fans.
Lee. Yeah, for the fans, right? And because it's like a proper Bruce Lee quiz.
Yeah.
Let's say we did 40 questions. Okay. And those 40 questions I could divide into, let's say, 8 categories.
Ooh.
All right. Or 5 categories
Ooh.
with 8 questions, or 8 categories with 5 questions, where we talk about childhood,
Yeah.
Wing Chun,
Yeah.
Jeet Kune Do, movie stuff, celebrity stuff. So it's how good are you with Bruce Lee across the broad spectrum of what is Bruce Lee?
Wow.
Films he made when he was a child, so we do the film stuff, the TV stuff, the martial arts stuff, the Wing Chun stuff, all those kind of things, right? I think I could create a better quiz with better quiz design,
Do
and then
it.
we could
Do it.
challenge our KFG
Do the fans
listeners.
want it?
Yeah, fans, let me know if you guys want us to do that. We could start with Patreon, see how it works,
Yeah.
and see who can pass it without. So maybe we have to have we have to have some rules. Like you got to put the video camera on you. You can't Google shit while you're doing it. There's a time limit, and we got to see you do it. Although we couldn't tell if they had done it before already.
Exactly.
And then they checked the answer.
Yeah. And, you know, if for those who get 100% right, you win a date night with KFG. For those who get it less than 50%, you win a date with Dre.
Oh, yes. The winners win a date with me. The losers win a date with you. And that's all I got to say about that. All right, everyone. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Kung Fu Genius. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the Kung Fu Genius. Hit that bell for notifications. Support us either on Patreon or here on YouTube memberships, or just give us the greatest nation of all, the donation. Link in the comments below and in the description below. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.
Word is I'm a kung fu genius. Technique speaks for me, not lineage. Forget Jet Li, cause I'm the one. Many call me seafood, but to you I'm sea kung. And I produce masters. You surpassed us. Your kung fu stiffer than corpse and caskets. City Wing Chun is the house I built. Violate the gate and your blood gets spilt. Alex, Richter, always the victor.
Bam.
Jesus. He's not had his morning coffee today. All right. Are we recording?
He hasn't had his morning penis.
Yes.
All right, peeps. On today's episode of the Kung Fu Genius, the genius will be quizzing me and all of you in YouTube about all things Bruce Lee. No?
Because people don't only listen to us on YouTube.
Okay,
Just
so
all of you is
all
fine.
of-
Yeah. In general, Dre, the fewer words, the better.
All right, peeps. On today's episode of the Kung Fu Genius, the genius will be quizzing me and you guys out there.
You, the audience.
You, the audience.
Well played.
Hey, not too bad for an episode idea I pulled out of my ass.